This week a lot of stuff happened, and it's stuff that happened with clients, it's stuff that happened in my family, it's stuff that happened when talking to people, and I want to try and share that. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm at least gonna try to. In the beginning of the week I had two very meaningful meetings with clients, and basically what happened is that I realized that marketing is not my place. And once I realized that, right after these meetings, once I realized that, I started looking like, okay, so if marketing is not my place, like I know I can do something there, I know I can bring value there, but it doesn't feel right for me because I feel like I don't have enough impact. Because I'm marketing something, but I'm not creating it, and I feel like that's a disconnect that doesn't work for me. And once I started realizing this, I was watching a video of Gary Vaynerchuk, and he talks a lot about self-awareness, right? So like self-awareness is the unlock to everything. If you know how you operate, if you know what you need as a human being to do something, then like damn, you can do everything, right? So once I started realizing that marketing is just like it's a piece of a business, right? I would even say the last part of the business. Like the first start is having your idea, having your vision. Then second part is starting to create that vision. Then the third part is like perfecting that vision and making sure your company is as close to this vision you have as possible. And then you start marketing it, right? But a lot of people, they come out in digital, or at least in social media, I see this a lot. They come out as this perfect business, like, oh, we're just the best in shampoos, or we're the best in this and that. And like, just embrace that you're not. You know, that's where social media is about. It's about like being honest. So like a lot of people, they write these articles and they make these videos and they're like, oh yeah, I'm perfect and we're the best and this and that. But people don't care about that. Like they don't care about that at all. And so I felt this disconnect with marketing, right? Because I noticed that in a few of my client situations, they started asking me for different kind of consulting. So I'm doing this social media consulting right now, but I could help them with that for sure. But they started asking me different questions. I don't want to go in details too much because it's kind of sensitive, but there was a company in Belgium here that asked me to be a part of their advisory board. And it's basically a company that's in a crisis situation, and they asked me to give my ideas on where the company should go. And it's someone that has known me for, I'd say, a year and a half, like 2 years maybe, like just before I started, or actually just when I started Tiny House Belgium, we met. What she said is that my mind somehow works in a totally different way than most other people. And I mean, that's for everyone, right? Like everyone has a different mind. That's just how it works. But what was interesting is that I think there were 8 people in the advisory board, and they all had kind of the same ideas, the same comments, and mine were totally different. I'm not saying better or worse, I'm saying different, okay? And what was interesting is that she told me that. It's like, Louis, like the way you think is totally different, and it really helps us forward. And then this happened again. So this advisory board was a few weeks ago, and then this week, this happened again twice. Not in the same context, of course, not an advisory board and all this stuff, but basically people started asking me for advice on the way they run their company or the way they run their project, or stuff like that. And what they all say is that my mind works in a different way than most other people they know. And so I always describe it like this: I have the ability to zoom out. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are very focused on what they do, which is great, but they're very focused on this one thing, and they actually, like a lot of people, don't see the overall thing they're trying to accomplish. And I wish I could talk about this, but I had, like, this week has been crazy. I had to like sign non-disclosing acts and all that kind of stuff, so I can't talk about it. But where it comes down to is that there were 3 or 4 people this week that told me the same thing, like, you have this ability to zoom out and to actually tell us what we're working on. Like, we're so focused on this one aspect of our actual goal that we don't see that actual goal, and you're there to reflect us on that. And I think that's really interesting, and that's something I started thinking about, right? Yeah, it also, like, the fact that that happened, like this mechanic I just talked about, is that people tell me things, and I try to create a safe environment with everyone I meet, so that they have the ability to tell me these things. Like this week, I even walked up to people and told them, like, what do you think I'm good at? What do you think I suck at? And then I take that information and go take a next step, right? And that's something you could say it's a project, right? Like it's been a project for 2 years, where I do things and I work with other people and I ask them for their feedback, and then I grow from there. And that's just, like, yesterday my dad and I were talking about this, or actually my mom and I were talking about this, and it's I live in extremes, and I don't know if I can recommend it or not, but just the way I go. So I I I need this one thing, this one project, this one idea, and then I focus on that 6 million%, right? And I don't do anything else. Like, I had that with tiny houses. Like, I did tiny houses for a year and a half, but I only did tiny houses for that year and a half. That's something I've always done, is like focusing on this one thing while consuming other things, but I'm focused on that one thing. And that's something I always need, is this thing to hang on to, right? And then after these tiny houses, it switched to New York, which it still is. After a few months, or a few months into my New York trip, I realized this is not going to be here tomorrow, so I need to do something in the meantime. And then this brings me to something that came up this Saturday. I met someone in Paris. I did a road trip to Paris. Um, and we talked about this. It's that we both have these, like, big dreams, right? We set our goals real high. And even though they're not in focus, like, they're not clear, they're not permanent, they're there, and we know that we want to get there. And for me, I trust that. Like, I know this is gonna sound weird, but I know that I'm gonna get wherever I want to get to. Like, I have no problem with that. That it's gonna take a while. I have no problem with that, and I just know I'm gonna get there. But my question is, what do I do in the meantime? Like, while I ask myself that question, I know the answer. It's trying things, right? But because I live in these extremes, it's very hard for the people around me to see me make those switches. So, like, it's just the way I operate. I had these tiny houses. I did that for a year and a half, and then like, in one day, I decided, okay, this has been it. Like, I've got everything I need from this project. Like, I've learned what I need to learn, and I think I hit, like, a ceiling or something, and then I totally quit. Like, I don't do anything with it anymore, and I do something else. And this is something that for me is very valuable. But those transition moments, it just doesn't work like that. Like, my ideal scenario would be, like, trying out things, and then one day I decide, okay, this is not it, and then I do something else. But the thing is that doesn't happen in one day. Um, and that period those are the hardest times of my existing. So, it's hard for me, and it's hard for the people around me, because they see me, like, so passionate about this one thing. Like, for now, it's marketing, right? And they see me being so passionate about it, and then all of a sudden I quit it, and it's like, what the hell are you doing, right? And in that time, I can't really give them an answer. Like, I don't know, but I just feel that this thing is not it, and I need to move on. And it's this, I don't know, is it an incubation period? I don't know, but it like takes a while for between me understanding what I want to do, and me understanding why I had to quit something, and the other people around me understanding that. And this brings me back to an article I wrote in the beginning. I started writing articles, is that surrounding yourself with the right people is the most important thing you can do ever. Because right now, the only people that are around me on a day-to-day basis, like on a regular day, are my parents, pretty much. Because this town, I mean, I don't even want to show you, it's just depressing, really. But there's no one around me here, and for good reason. Like, I don't want to be around these kind of people. And it's not that I'm better or worse or whatever it is. It's just that they're in a total different mindset, and they're doing totally different things than I am. I want to do, you know, like, most people I know here below 25 or under 25, they all want the same thing. They want a house, they want a car, they want a stable job, and they want kids. And I'm like, that's fine. You do you, right? But I'm not that way. Like, I don't want that for myself. Even I would even go further and say that that's my biggest nightmare, that I would be in a situation like that. Because for me, like I said, right, I want to reach this goal, and I want to do everything to get to that goal, and then basically, like, I want to know how far I can get as a human being, right? Like, what I'm forced at this week as well is on Friday I went to a funeral, and it was a funeral of family of my grandfather. So like, I didn't know him that well, um, but it's just that being in a funeral, like, it makes you think. Like, it makes you think a lot. It's like one day it's just gonna be done. Like, you can't do anything. Like, you can't change anything. You can't do anything. You can't plan anything. It's just like, it's terrible. It's terrible. Um, and so it like confirmed that feeling I have, right? That if I have something that I'm working on and I don't feel happy doing it, then you just gotta move on and you gotta do it as fast as possible, because like every day you waste on doing that thing is a day you lose, right? So I don't know. Yeah, I live in these extremes, and it's hard um, to get that across. But I don't even know where I want this video to go. But this pretty much, yeah, this week was just insanely valuable, and it gave me a lot of insights. And now I'm, yeah, trying to find that next thing. One more thing I want to try and get across is like what kind of life situation I'm in, right? Like, most people of my age, they finished high school by now and they're in their first year of university and college, but or college. But I went to university 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. I tried it for 4 months, and I know that's not it. And basically, the way you could look at it is, I'm in the University of Life, and that may sound very romantic, but it's definitely not. Um, and so basically, 3 years ago, my parents and I decided that the education system as it is just not something that could help me to get to my goal at all. And that's just something I know. Like, if you have questions about that, I can write you a whole book about that. So please hit me up if you do. Um, but so yeah, we decided that, and because we know that, I've been creating my own education. That's the way you could look at it. So it's just that I feel like I have this thing in me that guides me through life, and every time I follow it, stuff or good things start to happen. And the second I doubt it or I don't do it, bad stuff happens. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of unexplainable, but I want to keep living like that. Like, one way I can tell you this works, or like how this works, is I felt this need since the first day I went to New York, that 3 years ago, or almost 4 years ago, that I wanted to live there. And then I started acting in that direction, right? Like, I started, well, I mean, recently I was there for 6 months, and now that opportunity might lead me to Canada, and I actually applied for my visa. I was accepted. So it's just crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it short there. I could keep talking for ages, but I feel like it's not making a lot of sense if I keep doing that. So, um, basically, one more thing I want to say is that this is what I'm sharing. This is what I mean with a journey to entrepreneurship. Like, I know that whatever I'm doing now is just a piece of the puzzle, right? I just, like I said before, right? I feel this path, and I kind of vaguely see this path that I need to follow, and it's sharing that path with you, and then like, even documenting it for myself is honestly the most important thing, because like, I wish I started documenting 2 years ago, like, properly. Like, you can't even imagine where I've been through in the last 2 years. Um, and so I want to really force myself to do this right now, and to show you and show me in the future what it took to get to where I want to be, right? Um, and so yeah, this is what I'm sharing. Like, my social media stuff is all very new, right? It's all very recent, but like, can you imagine? Like, I just look back at the last 2 years, and then I imagine what's gonna happen in the next four, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And yeah, I want to kind of grab onto that and share that. So I hope this, like, one day will all make sense for other people, right? Because I feel like that's not even the purpose for it right now, because I know that everything I say now is super random, but like I have this trust that at one point it will all fall into place, like, and yeah, people are gonna really appreciate this kind of content. So for whatever this video is worth, I hope this gave you a little more insight in what I'm doing and what my mindset is. And again, if you have like any questions, or if there's anything I can help you with, hit me up. And that's gonna be it for this week. And let's do a normal vlog next week, right? Because this is really tough. All right, bye.